What is going on, everybody? Zach RC here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome along to episode 98 of the F1 Ultimate Career Series for the Brazilian Grand Prix. If you guys did miss the last episode, make sure to go check that one out before you see this one. And as always, if you are new around here, then make sure to get subscribed for more future F1 content as the series winds down, because this is, of course, the second to last episode of the entire series, but potentially today could be the day we wrap up our third driver's title. Of course, last race, that was our first sort of outside chance in America. Couldn't quite seal it then. Hope our best chance is to seal it here today. And of course, it's also the last sprint weekend of the entire series too. Of course, had our last one again back at Kota last time out, but one more sprint race to come. And of course, the Grand Prix itself. We've had success around Interlagos in the past. One victory back in 2021. Our rivalry with Verstappen, now they're heating up. The championship, though, is very much in our hands here, and we are quite a way in front of Verstappen, and to the point where we can actually win the title, I think, in the sprint, but it require the sprint victory, and from there we need to maintain a 25-point gap to Verstappen at least to avoid the championship going to Abu Dhabi, as it has done twice in the past already. Of course, we've been to Brazil before with a chance to win the championship. Couldn't do it back in 2022, but of course we wound up 1 point short of sealing the title in Brazil that day, and went on to win the championship in Abu Dhabi the race following that. But in terms of what will likely be our last upgrades here of the season, with just under 1,000 resource points to spend, I'm going to fix this minor powertrain upgrade, and that'll come in already for the final race of the season in Abu Dhabi, and of course the final race of the series. It'll be an emotional send-off as we look to try and end this series off on a high note with the third title potentially, and maybe even the Constructors title, because we're still in the race for that as well. But time now to get into sprint qualifying for the last sprint weekend of the season and the series.
It's a Saturday showdown. Anyone fancy some hot laps around Interlagos? It's qualifying day here for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix.
Sprint qualifying then about to get underway for the final time in Ultimate Career here at the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Of course, that's what they call it in real life, but it'll always be the Brazilian Grand Prix to us in Formula 1. In terms of then going on to our first lap in sprint qualifying, just the one lap really with a good chance to set a solid time thanks to our one set of soft tyres. Down up the hill now towards turn 1. It's a rather short circuit here, one of the few anti-clockwise tracks in Formula 1 to make our way through turn 1, through the Senate S for the first time, over the curb there at turn 2, but into the sweeping left of turn 3. Cap off those first few corners. DRS zone down the Hedgerow Poster on the run down towards turn 4. Of course, sight of many passes for us in the season's gone by. Bortoloso fastest, 1 minute 10.4. Going to aim to try and go a bit faster than the Kick Sauber driver there on his first lap. Going up towards turn 6 now. Good place for an overtake should the positioning be welcome to us on the inside. Piastri goes fastest, 1 minute 8.8. That's more our benchmark. We're going to try and beat in our sprint qualifying lap here. But into turn 9, down the hill here, it's a much more technical second sector compared to the first and third sectors. But into turn 10, Verstappen now fastest, 1 minute 7 on the board. So Verstappen is back on it after, of course, the sprint victory for him at Kota last time out. Retired from the Grand Prix as a whole, so lost a lot of points as he make our way into Yunso turn 12 and up the hill for the first time to complete a flying lap. DRS in play for us. We reach out to turn 14, but battery in the play going up towards the line. Can we try and get ourselves up with Verstappen competing from the get-go here in the sprint race, try and get ourselves the best chance of the title? It's P2 then on the grid for now, half a second back from Verstappen, 1 minute 7.8 for Verstappen, 1 minute 8.4 for us. Yuki in third place, Norris fourth, Alonso fifth, and it's Piastri, Russell, Sainz, Antonelli, and Hamilton after first lap. So we've got here to try and set one more lap on that same set of soft tyres here in sprint qualifying. Verstappen's there in front of us, so I've got a good chance to get a good toe off the Dutchman if we can get close enough on the run down towards, perhaps down towards turn 4. But onto our last lap, Verstappen backs off, then checker flag has just fallen. Sprint qualifying is complete. Gone way too deep there into turn 1, and that already spotted this lap before we even get going. As we go through turn 2, spinning out the car, and that's not what you want to try. That's what you're trying to avoid doing as you catch Gasly unawares as well, and try to get ourselves righted again, running right into the path there of Alexander Albon, and contact there, boneheaded move, stupid place to try and recover it, and it's a 5-place grid penalty there for a collision with Gasly. So that'll cap us off then for sprint qualifying.
Sprint qualifying, plenty more coming up over the rest of the weekend. So we'll see you all tomorrow.
5-place grid penalty then, P7 for us on the starting grid after that. Verstappen fastest, so a good chance to try and eat into our lead a bit more. So things could be a bit more troublesome for us. So we've got to try to work our way back through the order to try and keep ourselves in the best possible position to win the championship. It's time now to head into the final sprint race of the season. Can we pull it off from P7?
Well, the weather is not looking good today. We're expecting the downpours to continue into today's sprint. This will make for some very tricky conditions for all the teams. Interlagos, always a very special race here in Brazil. It's a 2.7-mile circuit with 9 left turns and 6 right turns for a total of 15 corners. It's a wet one today as well, so grip and visibility will be at a premium, and the drivers will need to be careful coming up the hill in Sector 3, the scene of many an accident over the years. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and Yuki Tsunoda completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Fernando Alonso, Oscar Piastri and Russell, Cohen, Sainz, Antonelli and Lewis Hamilton, Doohan, Gasly, Nico Hulkenberg and Ocon, Hadjar, Albon, Ollie Behrman and Gabriel Bortoleto, Stroll and Liam Lawson rounds off the grid. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out.
Here we go then, no more talking, time for action for the Brazilian Grand Prix sprint from P7 on the starting grid. It's full wet conditions for the sprint race, so wet tyres in play for all 12 laps of this thing. This could be quite chaotic.
Here we go then, the formation lap is underway ahead of today's sprint.
Full wet tyres then in play for all 20 cars on the starting grid. Verstappen leads the pack to turn 1 the formation lap with a good chance to try and score himself 8 points and eat into our lead a bit more. Our aim in this sprint race is to try and catch him from P7 in the wet conditions that we've struggled in during the last few events.
We're almost ready to start the sprint as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
Pace then has been a concern for us in wet weather in recent races. Look no further than Singapore and America, the last 2 outings of the series. We've dealt with mixed conditions in both of them. It's full wet this time. It was only intermediates last time out during both Grand Prix, but this time it's full wet tyres, so I'm not looking forward to this one. This could go horribly wrong. At the very least, expecting to maintain our position in this sprint race, but at most trying to advance up the order and try and catch Verstappen up in P1. The lights coming on then for the last sprint race of Ultimate Career. Both Red Bulls in the front row as the lights come on here in Brazil. Lights set foot to the floor, and we are racing into Interlagos. Up towards turn 1 we go then. Verstappen with a good start of Yuki there in front of us. Lando P3, Alonso into P4. Going side by side with Oscar Piastri going into turn 1, looking for a move into 5th place if we can. Go down towards turn 2 now. Alonso there in front of us and making our way through turn 3. Verstappen in front by quite a margin there. Lando 2nd, Yuki 3rd, Alonso in 4th place still. Top 5 remains unchanged. Going down the back stretch, down towards turn 4 for the first time here. And the top 4 really putting an advantage over us in P5. Piastri behind us as Lando and Yuki go side by side for 2nd place, allowing Max to pull away even further here. It's been a dream start for Max Verstappen in front. Alonso trying to fight those guys, get onto the podium himself, and we sit back here in P5 holding the rest of the train at bay here. On to lap 2, it's 2 seconds already to Alonso in P4, going wide there, out of turn 11, going towards 12. Piastri seizes his chance on the inside, takes P5 away from us as we round turn 12 up the hill once again to Oscar into 5th place, then sliding out of turn 12 up the hill here through 13. Russell and Sainz there behind us, the last 2 points paying place in this sprint race. Verstappen starts lap 3, fastest lap for him, 1:22.2 over the line for us. It's going to be a 1:24. We're 2 seconds a lap slower than Verstappen right now, but into turn 1, dive into the inside of Oscar Piastri, looking for P5 back as we go through turn 1. Piastri gets a better drive off, but keeps right in front of us. Contact there as we run into the back of him, going through turn 2, through into turn 3 now. Russell on our tail on corner exit, going down towards 4 and struggling for control as we make our way down towards turn 4 for the 3rd time. Closing on Oscar once again, might try to send if we can to the inside of the racetrack, looking for a late dive on the Australian, and on corner exit, jumping ahead and into P5 once more. It's a close fought race here. We've come out on top in this fight, but onto lap 5, a few laps later, Piastri is still there on our tail. Look how far in front Max is now. Yuki holding up Lando and Alonso.
The Red Bull drivers just completed a pass for the lead.
And Mark has got no clue what he's on about there as Oscar takes full advantage of us going wide there through turn 6 and takes P5 back. It's going to be very close to try and get him as quickly as we can, try and get ourselves back into P5 before Oscar starts to pull away, but he's managed to clear us in a slightly more technical part of the circuit. And on to the last lap now. Nothing much happened more in the sprint here. Verstappen is up front dominating. Piastri pulled away from us, so it's P6 for us right now. And Max is once again done what he needs to do. It's going to be another 8 points then for Verstappen, who will win the last 2 sprint races of the season. Verstappen comes towards the line and takes victory here in Brazil. The opening 8 points of the weekend go to Max Verstappen, who will close in our championship lead there. by 5 points. So Max getting that little bit closer in the World Championship. But as for us, though, still in P6, Piastri is there 11 seconds up the road, really pulled away in the second half of that sprint. Hamilton on our tails, we leave turn 12, go up the hill for the final time. Russell there in P8 with the last few points on offer for him. So unfortunate that we couldn't get up the order any further in these conditions. The wet conditions do not suit us at all, especially in this car over the course of this season. But towards the line then, P6 for us, just 3 points for us on the board today. And Max gains 5 in the run for the title. And that grid penalty really, really cost us. Unfortunate, we've got to move on and focus on the Grand Prix now. So Verstappen then takes 8 points, then Yuki second, Lando third, Alonso finishes fourth, Piastri fifth, we finish sixth, Hamilton seventh, and George Russell in 8th place. So the top 8 all scoring points there. Sainz in 9th, and Gasly rounds out your top 10 from P12 on the grid for him. And Max closes then 5 points in the standings, and we're still in a good spot to win the title. We're still 38 in front. Max needs to gain 13 points at least to keep the championship rolling, but that'll do it then for the sprint race, and it's time for us to now jump into the last qualifying session here in Brazil.
It's a Saturday showdown. Anyone fancy some hot laps around Interlagos? It's qualifying day here for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix.
So the weather then has cleared up then ahead of Grand Prix qualifying here in Interlagos. It's a nice, clean, sunny racetrack heading us here, and we're looking forward to what should do some slightly better pace then over the course of qualifying. Let's try and avoid the dramas of sprint quali if we can. So on to our first lap then, midway through sector 2, going up towards turn 10. Verstappen goes fast. It's 1 minute 8.6 on the board then for the Dutchman. It's a purple sector 1 for us, but a slightly poorer sector 2 here. So they're going down the hill through turn 11, going up towards turn 12. It's a green second sector, 53.1 in the split. Now, up the hill here for the first time in full qualifying, going up towards the line, looking to complete a good first lap to keep ourselves in contention on pace with Max like we were in sprint qualifying. DRS open, charging towards the line to complete our first flying lap of the afternoon here. It's P4 on the grid. Slower than Alonso and Gasly, 1 minute 9.2, so quite a bit of the pace here. Verstappen 6/10 in front with 1 minute 8.6 for Max. Alonso second right now, Gasly third, Russell, Albon, then Norris in front of us, and behind us it's Piastri, Sainz, and Antonelli who complete your top 10. But on to our second and final lap here to accelerate the last few minutes of time to get ourselves set for that last one. Hamilton down there in P14. Unfortunately, we got held up a bit here thanks to some slower cars who had to let go for some reason. For the lights went out, we could actually get going again. But when we come in, only got 14 seconds at this point, so not enough to actually make it up to the line, I shouldn't think. So unfortunately, for the first time in a while, we're going to miss out on a second lap time here in qualifying, and that'll leave us in P9 right now, P10, sorry, as the checker flag comes out towards the line. It's P10 for us, and qualifying's gone even worse than the sprint did, down in P10 with a rough chance to potentially get some points in the Grand Prix. So Verstappen is going fast. It's on pole position with a good chance then of bringing that championship on to Abu Dhabi unless we can stop him. Alonso, Russell, Gasly, Albon, your top 5. Hulkenberg, Tsunoda, Norris, Antonelli, and then us. That's your top 10. Can we secure a third Drivers' Championship from this position? It's time to find out now. On to the Brazilian Grand Prix.
Welcome along then to where heroes and history are made. It's where the 2008 title was decided in the very final corner. And just 1 year later, Jenson Button stormed through from 14th on the grid to claim his one and only Drivers' Championship. It's time then for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. We're racing today then at Interlagos, a historic 2.7 mile circuit and one of the few anti-clockwise tracks on the calendar. 15 corners in total, 9 to the left and 6 to the right, with a technical middle section opening up to a flat-out Sector 3. That gives us our best passing opportunity down into Turn 1. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Fernando Alonso completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Russell, Gasly, Alex Albon, and Hulkenberg, Tsunoda, Norris, Antonelli, and Cohen, Piastri, Sainz, Isaac Hadjar, and Hamilton, Ocon, Doohan, Liam Lawson, and Gabriel Bortoleto. Stroll and Ollie Behrman rounds off the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. And alongside me today is a man who needs no introduction, but I'll try anyway. It's Ant Davidson. And let's talk momentum with this driver. What a sprint it was. They start at 0 once again for today, but with a huge amount of confidence, surely. Well, they'll definitely be glad that there's not a sprint race today. Let's face it, the sprint couldn't have gone much worse, but what we're looking for today is a reaction. Interlagos, always one of my favourite weekends of the season. Love Brazil, adore this track.
Absolutely spot on, Crofty. I wish you could pick this circuit up and place it, copy-paste it on multiple different locations around the planet, because it is sensational to watch, sensational to drive. And for all these drivers here in Brazil, it's a great time to get stuck into this Interlagos circuit. It's an anti-clockwise track, lots of important corners to get right, and it's a track where you can make or lose an awful lot of lap time.
No more talking then. Time for action for the Brazilian Grand Prix from P10 on the starting grid, and potentially the day that we win our third Drivers' Championship. It's in our hands. Max has to catch us. In terms of strategy then, I wanted to go for the ultimate strategy in this Grand Prix, but for some reason the game wouldn't actually allow me to do that. I had to use both the mediums and the hard tyres I've got left. So I had to keep it on the default strategy then and see how things play out in the Grand Prix.
The formation lap gets underway and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure that their car is ready for the battle once the lights go out.
So mediums and hards then for the majority of the field, but Alonso, the one driver taking a risk, starting on C5 soft tyres then for his first stint. Keep an eye out for Alonso in the first phase of the Grand Prix, but Verstappen on the mediums, and we start on the mediums as well. The majority of cars around us on hard tyres.
As the cars come back towards the grid to line up for the start of the race, each driver will be wanting to get the best start they possibly can. And they'll be hoping to finish today's race on the podium, failing that, within the points.
Max needs 14 points now to keep this championship rolling, so realistically a top 4 finish should be enough for us to maintain our lead enough to win the third title. It's in our hands. Max needs to win. Max needs to catch us. If we can try and get us up the order, we'll be in a good chance here as the last few cars take their spot to the back of the grid to get this Grand Prix underway. 5 lights are on for the Brazilian Grand Prix, second to last race of F1 Ultimate Career Season 6. Lights out, foot to the floor. We are racing. Much better start than yesterday though. Good start over Antonelli on our right going towards turn 1. Norris and Snowden there in front of us. 3 wide for that first corner down the hill towards turn 1. Hulkenberg and Albon there in front of us as they were in Singapore. Verstappen leads over Alonso. Gasly and Russell side by side for third in front. Albon dropping back on the outside there up into P6 then. Hulkenberg our next target in the Sauber on the run down towards turn 4. Trying to close on the German for the run towards that braking zone. To the inside of Hulkenberg here. Bit of contact, slight tapping of the tyres there. Going through turn 4, slightly on corner exit, but up in front of Nico here and into P5.
Conditions look stable at the moment. No rain currently expected.
No rain threatening. Passing Gasly down the inside, going through turn 6. A new turn 6 is a good chance to make it a pass. We've done it there on the Frenchman of Russell. There in front of us, P3, and Alonso Verstappen pulling away here at the start of this Grand Prix. But Max in the lead, us in P4. That's 13 points for us in Max's favour. That's not enough for him to keep this championship rolling. He needs 14 as it stands right now. So on to the end of the first lap, start of lap 2. Making our move on Russell out of turn 14. No DRS as of yet. Making the pass still on the inside of the Mercedes driver in our former seat. But up towards turn 1 to begin lap 2. DRS now in play for us, but outbraking Russell into turn 1, passing our compatriot into that first corner. P3 for us now. Max only gains 10 points. That's nowhere near enough for him to keep this championship going. Max pulling away by 2 seconds over Alonso now at the end of lap number 2, but we're focusing on passing Alonso ourselves here. DRS in play for us now, down the main straight going towards turn 1 for the second time here. DRS is open, going up towards the first braking zone, making our move on Alonso here, inside or outside to the outside of the racetrack. Alonso defends underneath, going towards turn 1, making the pass around the outside of the first corner and up into second place then, and Max now only gaining 7 points, so things in our hands right now. Things very much in our hands if they weren't already, and Russell might put Alonso under some pressure here going down towards turn 4, but our focus now is on chasing that 2-second gap to Verstappen as Alonso tries again there going into turn 4, can't quite do it, going to shut the door on him and maintain P2, so our focus now fully shifts to closing up to Max Verstappen.
Accumulating somewhere on the MGUK. To manage this, we're going to need to lower our ERS deployment mode.
And let's hope we don't get some kind of power fault, because that could really cost us in terms of points in the championship. But on to lap 11 now. Fair few laps later, Verstappen is there, pulling away by 6 seconds now. It's a yellow flag. Looks like one of the Saubers has got a problem down at turns 4 and 5, but got themselves running again, and it looks like Gabriel Bortoleto may have had a spin of some kind. Have a look at the replay here of what's happened to the young Brazilian at his first home Grand Prix. Bortoleto slides off the circuit there, loses the chunk of his front wing. I think he's trying to keep going as he is, but tough break then for the kick Sauber driver, who looks to be fairly up the order there, around sort of P14, P15. Of course, Hulkenberg in the points that stands right now. It's good points for Sauber. I believe Bortoleto has scored already this season. But on to the end of lap number 11 now. Verstappen pitting for the first time in this Grand Prix, a bit earlier than anticipated there. Our pit window is open to lap 14 or lap sort of 16 sort of time. So Max coming into the pit lane, so makes his change onto what looks to be a second set of, a set of hard tyres that go onto Verstappen's car. He gets himself away down the order here, but onto lap 14 a few laps later, our medium tyres are now wearing on a bit further than Max has done in this Grand Prix. Max did a bit of time to close back in. Into the pit lane we come now for our first stop on this Grand Prix, and hopefully our last one. I shouldn't see a need for a 2-stop at any point during this Grand Prix, but into the pit lane we come now. Gasly on his hard tyres stays out, takes the lead away. Russell, Norris staying out. Piastri likely stays out too. Verstappen passing us into P4 now. So into the pit lane we come here for our 2.4 second stop. Nice and easy there. No one around us in the pit lane. No traffic whatsoever. Hard tyres now on. We're going to try and run these for the rest of the Grand Prix if we can get ourselves that far in this race. Potentially going to try and save tyres over the course of the thing. Emerging in P10 out of the pit lane, because on pit exit, not emerging until out of turn 3. Alonso's there on our right, making the pass on us, going towards turn 3. And there he goes. Of course, Alonso was behind us by a little bit before we came into the pit lane, and now he's quite a way in front of about a second or so ahead here as Alonso leads us going down towards turn 4. You see the Saubers, I believe Hulkenberg and Albon going side by side behind us there, going through turns 4 and 5. But our focus shifts back to Alonso here. We're in P11 on lap 15 of this Grand Prix. Got to try and achieve 10th place and making our move on Alonso down the main straight, going towards turn 1. Once again around the outside, nice and easy then on the Spaniard once again, and into 10th place. Jack Deal on our next target as we go through turns 1 and 2, and looking here for a move a lap later on the Australian, going down towards turn 1 once again. 20 laps to go in this Grand Prix across the line, and these hard tyres still looking good here, making that move around the outside of the rookie, going into turn 1, into P6 now. A few more cars into the pit lane. Verstappen though is back out in front. We need to try and get ourselves a few more places here to get ourselves up the order in terms of points for this championship. Let's make our way onto lap 17. Safety car has been deployed for the first time today, just before the halfway mark, and in P6 for us. A number of cars in front of us who haven't pitted yet, who may lose time thanks to those pit stops being so close in terms of how close everyone is in the order right now. But it's Liam Lawson who's had a problem going out of turn 1, loses the car in the same sort of manner as Bortoletto did down at turn 4. But Lawson is stood there, stuck on the racetrack, and cars can get around him. So they brought the safety car for a stopped car on track. Lawson gets himself going, but there is a safety car coming out of his pit box. The damage is done, and everyone in front of us coming into the pit lane here for fresh tyres. We're going to stay out as we have done previous times this season on a set of hard tyres, and that means we take the race lead back for the first time today. Gasly in P2 there on medium tyres. Verstappen on a fresh set of hard tyres in 3rd place. Norris 4th, and Sainz now 4th, and Norris now in 5th. As onto that 19 now, everyone's back together again. We lead, Gasly 2nd, Sainz in 3rd, Verstappen 4th, and Norris rounds out your top 5.
Car is in this lap. Safety car in this lap.
Safety car is in this time. We've got about 17 laps to go to try and secure ourselves this 3rd world title. We're in a good position now to win it off of points, nice and easy here with Verstappen in our mirrors down in P4. Let's just try and rely on a gargantuan safety car restart here over Gasly and over Sainz to get ourselves the best possible chance of a gap here. Green flag goes back out in the air, pulling away here. It's a mega restart going down towards turn 1. Gasly is not woken up here. Over the line to begin lap 20 of this Grand Prix. Going down towards turn 1. It's a second advantage to Gasly already there as we round the first corner. Sainz behind him in 3rd place. Verstappen is stuck behind 2 cars on slightly slower machinery there in 4th place. So Max is down the order now. Norris still behind him in P5. Top 5 remains unchanged from that safety car restart. Pushing further on now as we continue to command this Grand Prix from P1, getting settled, being into the lead for the first time today. Onto lap 23 for laps later. Gasly is there in 2nd place, and Max Verstappen is on his tail now into 3rd place, having dispatched Sainz, now dispatching his former teammate at Red Bull, going up towards turn 1. Max makes his move to the outside, nice and easy there. DRS in play, cool, calm as you like, collective from the Dutchman. He's in 2nd place now. His hunt begins to try and chase us down for this race victory and try and get ourselves out of shape to try and lose us the championship chance.
Approaching the pit window, and you're going to be on mediums.
The team calling us in for a second stop here.
Okay, pit in this lap, and remember the speed limit. We'll be penalised if we exceed it. Keep that in mind as you approach.
Lap 26, just over 10 laps to go now, and Max is on our tail in DRS range. Can't stop now. Can't give up this track position here. As we go up towards turn 1. Lap 27 of the Grand Prix incoming. Max makes his move though to the inside of the racetrack, going towards turn 1. Nips in front, going to try and outbrake him. Bit of contact there as Max taps us, going in towards that first corner. Max is not willing to give up this championship whatsoever, yet to win a title in Ultimate Career, and wants this one bad as we make our way out of turn 3 and towards turn 4 again. DRS for Max in play once again. Norris there in P3. Going to try and close on both of us, our 2 fiercest rivals of the last few seasons in Ultimate Career, on our tail in this top 3. And of course the top 3 this season, the World Championship 2. Verstappen is still there behind us, our championship rival from history gone by, as we push into lap 28 here. 8 more laps to go and we cross the line. Max is closing in once again, looking for a good move towards turn 1. Couldn't do it last time. He got the inside line this time and gets a better run into that first corner. Tried to switch back to the inside, couldn't do it. Max didn't open the inside up, so So Max takes the lead back. Verstappen into P1. We sit second. Norris 2 seconds behind us in third place here. On to lap 30. A few laps later here, chasing Max and looking for the race lead back. On to lap 31. 6 laps to go. We win the title in this pot regardless, but we want the win now. Down the inside of Verstappen into turn 1 and looking for the race lead back, sending it on the inside. Max is there at turn 2, pulling in front by a hair though, and into turn 3 with the race leader. Max has DRS once again, going down towards turn 4. Does he get enough run to try and challenge once again? Going to defend the inside if we can, going towards that 4th corner. Verstappen on the outside, can't compete from there. Has a chance on the outside, still sort of there, using Max to try and keep us himself alongside us. Going up towards turn 6 here, dead even, pulling in front of Max, going around the outside into turn 6 and clearing our rival in towards the right-hander and up the hill again, still in P1, and Norris closing on us all the time here, onto lap 35. A few laps later, rounding turn 12 here, we're a lap away from our 3rd World Championship. Verstappen wants the race win, Norris wants a bit more pride. Later on this season, 1 more lap to go. We cross the line, a lap away from our 3rd driver's title as Max goes for another move here to the outside, this time going towards turn 1. Max gets a fantastic run around the outside, gets in front for a second, sending it back to the inside though. Into this first corner we go, over the curb there, and Max cannot respond out of turn 1. Through turn 2 he goes back into line. Norris is closing in a bit more here as he round turn 3 and down the DRS straight for the final time here. Max getting a good run down this back straight, going down towards turn 4, going to defend the inside once again. Norris may try and fight Verstappen going into turn 4. It'd be fantastic for us if he does, but no such chance. Norris stays in 3rd place, but it's nose to tail then between the 3 fierce opponents on the circuit. Into turn 6 we come, holding this race lead. Remember this win has no impact on our championship chances. We win the championship regardless of where we finish in this top 3, but Max, we want to try and beat him for pride once again, to show him that we are the champions, we are the best on the grid, as we round our way into the 2nd sector and into turn 10 for the final time. It's been a long season with Ferrari. It's been a fantastic season with Ferrari. We were tasked with coming back to them and bringing them back to the heights of the World Championship, not achieved since Raikkonen in 2007 and Massa with the constructors in 2008, and the same spot where they last lost the World Championship with Massa. Up the hill for the final time, looking to take victory again here in Sao Paulo. Our 2nd win at Interlagos, and with it comes a much more spectacular prize towards the finish line now to win our 3rd championship in Ultimate Career.
Oh, you are my hero! You're my hero! You've done it! All of that work has come down to this, and you are the world champion. Great stuff.
Good job. Well, it's certainly been an incredible year for Formula One, and our drivers have all pushed themselves this season, making it one of the most compelling years of racing in history. There can only be one champion, however, and here they are now, our new Formula One World Drivers' Champion. That's a spectacular victory, and with it, the championship is secure. It's been a magnificent season, and they thoroughly deserve the cheers of the crowd here today.
They had to be decisive with their overtaking today as they worked their way through the field. And those kind of race victories are so enjoyable because it's not just like winning from the front. They really had to work for it today.
And here we are, a team that is no stranger to the podium, taking their place on top once again. A sublime race today and a stunning win for Ferrari.
It's all over then. 7th victory of the season from P10 to P1, like Hamilton before us in real life, and with it comes a 3rd World Drivers' Championship, this time for Ferrari. 3 championships, 3 different teams, Mercedes, McLaren, and now the bread of the prancing horse, Verstappen, there in 2nd place, knows he's lost, had a fantastic job in the last few rounds, trying to keep himself in contention, but it wasn't enough, and Norris finishes in 3rd place. Our former teammates there, celebrating with us on the podium as we complete a fantastic season with a round to spare. Abu Dhabi will be a nice, calm race to end off this series, but in terms of the final results here in Brazil, victory for us from Verstappen and Norris. Russell finishes in 4th place, Piastri 5th, Gasly in 6th, Yuki Tsunoda falls to 7th, Andrea Kimi Antonelli 8th, Hamilton 9th, Alonso then from P2 on the grid takes the last point off today for Aston Martin. No retirees in this race, but of course problems for Bortoletto and Lawson, their spins earlier on. But there it is then, 45 points clear and a 3rd championship in the pocket for us here in Ultimate Career. Verstappen 2nd place, Norris 3rd, Tsunoda in 4th, Piastri 5th, Hamilton 6th, and Russell P7, and 25 points cover the top 3 because the Constructors' Championship is still on. 7 points back from Red Bull with one race to go in this season and this series, no less. Guys, that'll do it then for Ultimate Career today. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more future F1 content. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you next time when F1 Ultimate Career draws to its conclusion. Goodbye, everyone.